Welcome to this episode of Pete's Garden, this unedited episode. As with previous ones, in this one I'm just doing one long shot of me sowing some seeds. But before that, let me just show you my organiser that I use for organising my seeds. And it's got January, February, March, obviously, etc, etc. So I just put all the seeds in there behind the months, and it keeps everything perfectly dry. I'm not sure it's rainproof, this. I do need to be careful if it's in the rain, but I keep it in a very cool area at home. I don't know if I'm looking into the right part of the camera. Anyway, there we are. So what's the first thing that I'm going to pull out? Rudbeckia. So let's get on with that. So here we go. It's Rudbeckia Caramel mix. It's one of those ones that I'm growing as it's perfect for pollinators, and it's an annual. So for those who don't know what an annual is, it just means that you're sowing it, growing it and flowering it all within the same year, really. Not necessarily the same calendar year, because some annuals you can sow later on in the year and look after them in the greenhouse or something, and if it's a something like a cauliflower or something like that, then I'm a bit tired today, can you tell? Then you sow them in the late summer, early autumn, and they flower, i.e. harvest, the following spring. So, but that still counts as being an annual, because it's all within the same year. See? This is John Innes #1 seed compost, and I'm using that with everything this year because I didn't last year, and big mistake. And it's mixed with vermiculite for added drainage. Whenever it says on a packet perfect for pollinators, why is it perfect for pollinators? Well, I had a bit of a tutorial in this, a bit of one, from the people at RHS Wisley a long time ago now, and it makes sense. That's all come out now, isn't it? Any more in there? Yes. It makes sense because what they're saying is that over the years, as we've bred more and more flowers to look good rather than to be good for pollinators, we've bred varieties which have what are called double flowers. And where they have double flowers, it's much more difficult, sometimes impossible, for pollinators to get to the pollen. And that has obviously, over the years, contributed to a reduction in pollinators, because they've got less pollen. So if we can start growing more single flowered things, like single flowered varieties of dahlia, for example, then when they're single flowered, the pollinators can get access to the centre of the plant. And when I say single flowered versus double flowered, what I mean is that each flower head has one set of petals on it as opposed to two sets of petals on the same head. I think they're fairly well covered now. So really, you don't just have to look for the thing saying perfect for pollinators. Really, if a flower has got that great big central part well exposed, then that tells you that it's perfect for pollinators, because they're going to find it quite easy to access the pollen. So there we are, there's the label. And I'm doing caramel mix because it does exactly what the variety says. It has caramel, caramel colours to it. I do like these containers that came with the tomatoes that you buy from the supermarket. I mean, that's a sign of how bad, of the fact that I didn't end up getting a tomato crop last year because of having to give up my old allotment. Otherwise I'd probably still be eating tomato sauces and things like that. Anyway, that's my little moan. I do like these containers, but they are very floppy, is what I was going to say. So, what am I going to sow next? Shall I do... I think I'll do some Californian Wonder peppers. There we go, beautiful looking ones. And it's not that those things are actually different colours, it's that it starts off like that and ripens back. Right, sometimes I just do a small pot of something, you know, put like 2 seeds in there or something, because I only want 1 plant. And I was considering doing that with these, but actually I'll do a seed tray and get a few plants out of it, because although they're gonna, the ones that I'm sowing now are going to stay in the greenhouse, and that's why I'm able to sow them now, because they're going to stay in the greenhouse. I will still actually probably have just about enough space for 3 or 4 of them in here, depending on how many tomatoes and other things I keep in this little greenhouse. Mind you, they have plenty of polytunnels at the new allotment site I'm at. Where they teach kids and things like that, so they might want a few extra plants there anyway if I've got spares in the spring. kind of sounds like spring outside at the moment, and it can look like it a little bit down here in the southeast of England, but it's good to remember that it's not spring yet, and we've still actually got another month of potentially very hard frosts, certainly, and another 2 or 3 months after that of soft frosts, moving down to being the occasional frosts here and there towards the end of May and the start of June. Come on. So I'll sow 8, and we'll see how many come up. But these are my greenhouse ones. I shall sow some more, and probably a few chili ones as well. Next month, or maybe the month after. I don't know which of the compartments I put it in now, in that organiser, because I worked out which months I was going to do everything at the start, well, a couple of months ago, so I'll just go by that. And if you're wondering why I've put them that far apart, it's only so that they have to be quite big seedlings before I have to pot them on. And if you're wondering why I do this, it's so that the compost over the top of the seedling is as thin as possible, and then it makes it easier for the damn things to come through, you see. And I'll just put a bit more to cover up those bits, and there we go. Let's get the label. Pepper Californian Wonder. There we are. And another one done, another one done. Oh no, I have to pay for that. There we are. Didn't need to water it too much because the soil's quite moist anyway. Right, we're cracking now, we're cracking. So, which one am I going to do next? Well, I've done the peppers. Might as well do the tomatoes, eh? And I want quite a few of these particular ones in the greenhouse, so I'm going to use a bigger seed tray. So there we are. these tomatoes are Pomodoro, authentic Italian seed, and from all the kind of research I've done and TV programs I've watched and everything, it does look like the Italian ones are generally the best ones for the job if you want really big flavour. And I saw a program from a couple of years ago, I think, with Monty Don, and I saw him eating an ox heart type, which is that, and I just thought, yes, I quite like that in the greenhouse, thank you very much. And I'm probably going to be the greenhouse this summer is going to be mainly tomatoes, and I will do another variety, Alicante, but for the greenhouse that'll be it, this one and the Alicante. Oh, look at the number of seeds in there. I'm not going to get through that number of seeds in about 5 years, probably. So I'll do about 10 or 15 seeds of this. Yeah, that'll do. There we are. The ox heart type, I think, are the best ones for sandwiches, and I haven't levelled this compost out properly, but that's not the end of the world. Best ones for sandwiches, but also you can slice them up quite nicely and grill them. Oh yes, I must be hungry. I'm talking about food. I'm making myself salivate here. There we go. Yeah, they go well in salads. As well. Oh yes, I'm definitely looking forward to this growing season. I had to give up my tomato crop last year because I'll put a couple of these in with some of them, just because I might as well. Put the seed here in the hand. Yeah, I had to give it up because I had to give up my old allotment to swap over to this phantasmagorical new one. So it was great because I got a much better allotment out of it on a new site, but of course I had to give them the keys to my old one, meaning I gave up my tomato crop and my pepper crop as well, and a few other bits and bobs that were on there. I'd already had to give up most of my potato crop from that allotment because the council came and mowed over it, because clearly the people that work for the council can't tell the difference between the grass in the plots that are around, were around that plot, and potato plants. But there we are. I did make a video of my reaction to that when I discovered it, and I look back on that video now and it's quite funny actually. Right, and I've got this new plot outfit, so that's brilliant. But of course I'm not on that plot at the moment, so I'm in the garden at home. Tomato Pomodoro. There we are. Actually, I don't know whether that's whether the name of it is Tomato Cure Debut, and it might just be that Pomodoro is Italian for tomato. Anyway. There we are. Now let's pick another one from the box, from the organiser I mean. Nasturtium. There we go. Nasturtium Empress of India. Now, I don't normally have to sow nasturtiums. They normally sow themselves. But I actually want some down at the allotment this year, because I'm going to be probably going to be growing my brassicas down there, and nasturtiums are a great thing to grow next to brassicas, because butterflies are more attracted to the nasturtiums than they are cabbages or any of the other brassicas, and so they go and land on there and lay their caterpillars on there, whatever, you know what they do. You get caterpillars on the nasturtiums instead of the cabbages, basically, and the nasturtiums look terrible, and you're a sacrificial crop, really. But the brassicas look really good. So that's how it's supposed to work. Anyway, I'll probably still need to net them, I would imagine. And because I want so many seedlings of this, I wasn't going to be very sparing with the seeds, but actually there aren't all that many anyway. So we'll just stick these in, and actually one of these seed things has come out, so that's the inside of a nasturtium seed pod. if the camera can focus in on it there. Come on. Focus. Oh, perhaps it can't. Anyway. Oh, there we are. That's better. So that's interesting. You can actually see inside the pod there. And also, of course, you can actually eat nasturtiums. You can eat the leaves, the petals, and I think you can eat the seed pods as well. So, in fact, I'm sure I've done that before. So, you can just, really, you're growing it as a crop, not a flower thing. And as I say, I'm not too concerned about putting them in the right distance for now, because I just want as many plants out of it as I can get. Because as I say, I'm going to put them all round the brassicas. It is a lovely looking nasturtium though, that one, that particular variety. We've had it in the garden for a few years now because, as I say, it self-seeds all the time, very easily. And it's always a good sign of that we're getting towards the end of spring, I think, whenever I see it come up in the garden, or whenever I see it flower anyway. It's usually reached the middle of spring by the time it flowers. There we are. So it's starting to get a bit dark, and I could do with stopping and having a cup of tea. And there is the cup of tea in my RSPB mug. I made a video the other day of the Big Garden Bird Watch. So if you fancy watching that, that's good. I'll put the link to that in the description box below. And yeah, so for now I think I'll have a bit of a break from this seed sowing lark, and I might make another unedited seed sowing video pretty soon as well, and so look out for that. For now though, I'll just do it like this actually. For now though, thanks very much for watching, and if you're new, click subscribe and all that, and bye for now.